Gary was a young gorilla. He had soft, dark fur and big, kind eyes. Today was a very special day. It was his first day of school. The school was called the Jungle Blushes. It was a cheerful place with bright red walls and a big green roof, nestled right at the edge of the jungle where he lived. Gary held his new backpack tightly in his big hand. It was bright yellow like a happy banana. He was excited, but a little bit scared too. His tummy felt like it was full of fluttery butterflies, all flapping their wings at once. He took a deep, slow breath, just like his mama had taught him. As Gary walked through the big school gates, he saw lots of children. They were running and laughing and playing games. There were boys and girls with all different kinds of hair and clothes, but Gary noticed something very quickly. He was the only gorilla. All the other students were human children. He suddenly felt very big and very hairy. His big gorilla feet seemed to make loud thumping sounds on the pavement, much louder than the pitter-patter of the children's little shoes. He wished he could be just a little bit smaller, maybe just for today. The children stopped their games when they saw him. They stood very still and just stared. Little whispers followed him like tiny buzzing bees. "Look, it's a gorilla," one boy whispered loudly to his friend. "He's so big," a girl with pigtails said, hiding behind her hands. Gary's shoulders drooped a little. He tried to give a small, friendly smile, but his lips felt wobbly. He wanted to say hello, to tell them his name was Gary, but the words felt stuck in his throat. He just looked down at his big feet and kept walking slowly towards the classroom door. He found his classroom, room 2. The teacher, Miss Appleby, had a very kind smile. "Welcome, Gary. We are so happy to have you," she said. Her voice was warm and made the butterflies in his tummy calm down just a little. He found a chair that was big and strong enough for him. It was right at the back of the room. He sat down carefully, placing his bright yellow backpack beside him. He hoped that maybe, just maybe, sitting at the back would make him feel a little less different. But it was hard not to feel like all eyes were still on his big, furry back. The first lesson of the day was painting. Miss Appleby gave everyone a big piece of paper and pots of colourful paint. Gary loved painting. He dipped his big finger into the red paint and drew a big, happy sun. Then he used the blue paint to make a swirly, whirly river. He was so busy painting that he forgot all about being shy. He was just a gorilla painting a picture, and it felt wonderful. He even added a little green frog hopping by the river. He looked at his work and felt a small puff of pride in his chest. It was a good painting. Next, it was story time. Miss Appleby read a book about a brave knight and a silly dragon. Gary listened with his ears wide open. He loved the part where the dragon sneezed and accidentally set the knight's hat on fire. He let out a big, deep chuckle. It was a rumbly, grumbly gorilla chuckle. All the children turned to look at him again. This time they weren't whispering. A few of them started to giggle. Gary's chuckle had sounded so funny and deep. A little boy named Tom even giggled so hard that he snorted, which made everyone else laugh even more. After the giggles settled, it was time for math. Miss Appleby was teaching everyone how to count to 20. She used colourful blocks to help them learn. The children were all paying attention, but Gary started to feel a little bit wiggly in his big chair. He had been sitting for a very long time. He wiggled his toes inside his big feet. He wiggled his shoulders just a little bit. Then he tried to wiggle his bottom on the chair, but he wiggled a little too much. The big, strong chair tipped back, and Gary tumbled onto the floor with a soft thump. The classroom went quiet for a second, and then everyone burst out laughing. It wasn't a mean laugh, it was a friendly, funny laugh. Gary lay on the floor, surrounded by his chair's legs pointing to the ceiling. He looked so surprised and silly that he started to laugh too. His big, rumbly laugh filled the room again. Miss Appleby helped him up, patting his furry back. "Are you all right, Gary?" she asked, smiling. Gary nodded, his cheeks feeling a little warm. It was embarrassing, but somehow, laughing with everyone made him feel a little less like an outsider. During playtime, everyone rushed outside into the sunny playground. Gary followed slowly, still feeling a bit unsure. He watched the children climb on the big jungle gym and swing on the swings. He wanted to join in, but he didn't know how to ask. He saw a little girl named Lily trying to get her bright pink frisbee. It was stuck high up in the branches of a big tall tree. She was standing on her tiptoes, stretching her little arms as high as they could go, but the frisbee was just out of reach. She looked very sad. Lily's friends tried to help. Tom tried to throw a ball at the frisbee to knock it down, but the ball just bounced off a different branch. Another girl tried to shake the tree trunk, but the tree was too big and strong, and it didn't even wiggle. Lily's face started to crumple, and it looked like she might cry. She really loved her pink frisbee. Gary watched them from a distance. He knew that the branch wasn't very high for a gorilla. He could climb trees all day long in the jungle. This was something he could do. Taking a deep breath to find his courage, Gary walked over to the group of children. "Excuse me," he said in his low, quiet voice. The children stopped and looked at him. I think I can help," Gary said, pointing up at the stuck frisbee. Lily looked at him with wide, hopeful eyes. "Really?" she asked. Gary just nodded. He felt a little nervous with everyone watching him, but he also felt a little bit brave. He knew he could reach it easily, and he wanted to see Lily smile again. It was a chance to be helpful. Without another word, Gary walked to the tree. He reached up with his long, strong arms and grabbed onto a thick lower branch. With one easy pull, he lifted himself up. He was a natural climber. He moved gracefully from one branch to another, his big hands and feet knowing exactly where to go. The children below watched in amazement, their mouths open in little O shapes. He reached the pink frisbee in no time, carefully plucking it from between the leaves. He was so high up, but he wasn't scared at all. He felt strong and capable. Gary climbed down the tree just as easily as he had climbed up. He held the pink frisbee carefully in his big hand. He walked over to Lily and gently handed it to her. Her whole face lit up with a huge, happy smile. "Wow! Thank you, Gary. You're the best climber in the whole world!" she exclaimed, hugging her frisbee tightly. The other children started cheering. "That was amazing," Tom said, giving Gary a big thumbs up. They weren't whispering or staring at him because he was different anymore. They were cheering for him because he had done something kind and helpful. Lily took a step closer to Gary. She wasn't scared of his big size at all. "Do you want to play with us?" she asked, holding out her frisbee. "We can teach you how to throw it." Gary's heart did a happy little flip. This was what he had been hoping for all day. "Yes, please," he said, a big, genuine gorilla grin spreading across his face. He finally felt like he belonged. He wasn't just Gary the gorilla anymore. He was Gary the amazing tree climber, Gary the helper, Gary their new friend. For the rest of playtime, Gary, Lily and Tom threw the frisbee back and forth. Gary wasn't very good at catching it at first. His big hands were a bit clumsy, and he fumbled it a few times. But Lily and Tom just laughed and showed him how to hold his hands to make a basket. They were patient and kind, and soon he was catching it almost every time. He discovered that playing with friends was much more fun than playing alone. He laughed his rumbly gorilla laugh, and this time his new friends laughed right along with him. When the bell rang to go back inside, Gary walked next to Lily. He didn't feel big or hairy or different. He just felt happy. He had survived his first day at the Jungle Blushes. It had started out scary, but it had ended with a new friend and the promise of more fun tomorrow. As he sat down in his big, strong chair at the back of the class, he didn't feel like he was hiding anymore. He felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be, and he couldn't wait to see what adventures his second day of school would bring.